I have to admit, the way that I prepare a shmooze is I just think about basketball. Just a confession. So yesterday, after our Ben Torah Chaburas, I started thinking about what I was going to speak about, and something came to my mind, so I looked it up, and Hashgacha Pratis. I thought about something that occurred, yesterday was May 6th, that occurred on May 6th, 2003. 23 years ago, Gematria, Michael Jordan, the same day, the Yahrzeit, so we had to speak about it. The early part of the 2000s, the dynasty in the NBA were the Lakers. They won in 2000, 2001, 2002. Gewaltig. 2003 comes, and they don't even make it to the finals. They lose to the San Antonio Spurs. So, the final game of that series, it's clear they're losing the game. It's clear they're losing the series. So, all the broadcasters picked up that Kobe Bryant, we could debate, the star, A star player, whatever, not that debate right now, was on the bench crying. That was the big deal. If you think about it, it's Meshuggah. My team put a ball into a cylinder more than your team did, and you're going to cry? Like, are you 5 years old? What are you crying about? So that was 23 years ago. So I'd like to explain the amkus, the depth of those tears. Okay? Because I think it actually is important for us. In the beginning of Parshas B'chukosai, the Torah says, if you walk in my statutes, you follow my mitzvahs, you'll do them. There's a well-known Rashi on that pasuk. Rashi says, what does it mean, in b'chukosai teilechu? I might have thought, says Rashi, that's referring to mitzvahs. Well, says Rashi, the later part of the pasuk says, mitzvahs tishmaru, you'll keep mitzvahs. So what's this referring to? Must be referring to amelis b'Torah. You have to work hard in learning. Great, work hard in learning. We're discovering that. And then Rashi says in the next part, mitzvos tishmaru, you'll keep the mitzvahs. That means you should be amelim b'Torah, almanas lishmar. You should learn with diligence, learn hard, work hard, in order that you'll get to a place where you'll be able to perform the mitzvahs. So, first of all, there's just a basic problem in the Rashi. If Rashi wants to tell me that I should learn hard, and that will generate performance of mitzvahs, he shouldn't have two dibur mastos. Rashi should just say, I might have thought, that's referring to performance of mitzvahs. No, it's not. It's actually referring to amelis b'Torah. Ve'az, and then what will happen? You'll keep the mitzvahs. Rashi doesn't have it like that. He mentions learning twice. Once in b'chukosai teilechu, you'll learn. That's the learning. And then he mentions it a second time. You'll learn and you'll perform mitzvahs. So I don't think he explains this Rashi, but there's a Beis Halevi. The Beis Halevi suggests that there are two types of learning that we do. There's learning that we do in order to perform mitzvahs. Chofetz Chaim, in the introduction to Hilchos Shabbos, points out that if you never really learn Hilchos Shabbos, how could you ever expect to keep Shabbos? It's kind of an impossibility. You have to, if you want to keep Shabbos, you want to keep mitzvahs, you're going to have to learn. But says the Beis Halevi, there's another type of learning. There's another type of learning that is not related to kiyum mitzvahs. It's learning because I'm learning. Some of us are learning Nefesh Chaim right now, Shar Dalet, that's really the theme over there. But there's two types of learning. So perhaps that's what Rashi's driving at. Rashi tells us, in the first part of the Rashi, why does he mention learning twice? There's one type of learning is a learning because I'm learning. I would have thought that's mitzvahs. No, nothing to do with mitzvahs. It's simply learning. Part number 2 of Rashi, when he says, when he repeats the learning, that's learning so that I can perform mitzvahs. Okay, so we have two types of learning. And Rashi brings out the point, based on Chazal, the idea of amelis b'Torah, you have to work hard. Fine. If you look at the Rambam though, when the Rambam brings this idea from Chazal, of amelis b'Torah, of working hard and learning, I think he has a slightly different focus than Rashi. Because if we just learn Rashi, we can all connect to that, right? We've all struggled, by definition, basically, with Gemara learning. We can appreciate that. Okay, so we did the Rashi, amelis b'Torah. The Rambam, when he presents it differently. Let me read you the Rambam. The Rambam says, Misha noso libo, l'kayim mitzvah karoi. Person who decides they want to do this mitzvah of learning, in the proper way. V'lios muchtor b'keser Torah. They would like to have the crown of Torah. Well, then what do? So the Rambam goes on, I'll just skip a little, and he says, "Ubetara ata'amel." You have to work hard. Notice how the Rambam contextualized the idea of hard work in Torah. It's not simply because it's hard. It's not simply because it's intellectually difficult. You have to do mental gymnastics. It's because there's a desire for Keser Torah. I'm going somewhere. It's an identity. It's not simply it's hard work, but it's part of my identity. The Rambam goes on and describes, "Ain't there a Torah miskaymin? Torah's not going to last. It won't take hold unless you work hard. You have to put in the effort." Again, the Rambam's not simply describing that it's difficult intellectually, but it's an identity. There's a story that I've shared, I think, before, but I think it's worth repeating. Somebody was once sitting Shiva for their father, and one of their friends came to be Menachem Malva. So the person sitting Shiva, at one point in the conversation, says, "I feel like I'm sitting a double Shiva, 2 Shivas simultaneously." So the friend says, "What are you talking about? Baruch Hashem, your children are alive. Baruch Hashem, your siblings are alive. Your mother's alive. Your father, your father was nifter." So the guy says, "No, you don't understand. I've been learning Daf Yomi for 25 years, and I can't learn the Daf now because I'm sitting Shiva. I feel like I'm sitting Shiva over my father. I'm sitting Shiva over I can't learn Daf Yomi." It's a tremendous level if you think about it. That's part of my identity. My identity is a Daf Yomi learner. Now, we're not pushing Daf Yomi. We're not pushing Daf Yomi. But the idea of the identity is, it's bound up with me. That's a different level. And that's a commitment. There's an expression that some of the Chevra sometimes use, not here, but in life. C's get degrees. C's get degrees. Now, I'm negative this phrase, because what does that mean? In the secular world, in your college degrees, okay, we're not talking about it, but in yeshiva, because what does C's get degrees mean? It means I don't really care about it. I just want to scrape by so that I can check the box. This isn't who I am. I don't really care about this. Let me just get to the next stage of my life. So to apply that attitude to yeshiva, it doesn't make any sense. Well, what do you mean? I just want to scrape by. I just want to do the bare minimum. I don't understand. That's the amkus of Kobe Bryant's tears. The stories they tell about Kobe Bryant was, they say about Michael Jordan, okay, the greatest, whatever. We're not getting to that much. See that right now. But Michael Jordan said that if anyone takes my crown, it's Kobe Bryant. Why? He said because he's got the work ethic. In high school, Kobe Bryant would come to practice at 5 a.m. 5 to 7 a.m., and then the rest of the team would come for practice. In the regular NBA, when you have a game day, so you have like a little scrimmage, you play for half an hour or something, he would work out for 4 hours on a game day. It's insane. It's a mishugah. But when you invest so much in it, when this is part of you, so yeah, you cry when the other team put the ball in the cylinder more than your team did, because it's part of who you are. I'd like to introduce a new terminology, maybe in our yeshiva. We've all bought in, I hope, but almost by definition, to text-based learning, independent learners, critical thinking. These are all terms that we're familiar with. That's kind of what got us in the door. And I think we're all, inching our way towards the concept, the idea, the term, the identity, ben Torah. Great. I'd like to introduce another term, a ben yeshiva. It's different. The way that I can explain the difference between a ben Torah and a ben yeshiva, and we're not putting anything down, but just in terms of what we're doing here in this context, is like this. Let's say that, say you're in your senior year of college, you go on a birthright trip. So you come to Israel for a winter vacation, 10 days. So you're a Mahadran tourist. You go to Masada, you go to the Dead Sea, you do all the tourist things. So you go back home 10 days later, you call up Nefesh B'Nefesh, I want to make Aliyah. So you meet with the advisor. Well, how many times you've been to Israel? What do you know? 10 days. I saw Masada. I saw the Dead Sea. What else is there? I even went to Eilat. Come on, I know everything. I want to make Aliyah. So the responsible Aliyah advisor says to you, That's very nice that you saw those things. Maybe you should do a pilot trip. Maybe you should check it out, see what it means. So you say, oh, you know what? I only want to make Aliyah in September. I've got an internship, but there's a couple weeks I've got between when school finishes and my internship. I'll go do my pilot trip. So fine. So you get an Airbnb somewhere in town, right on the train line. Perfect. So you go for 2 weeks. You find your coffee shop. You go to the shuk every day. You cook yourself the food. It's beautiful. It's amazing. You even find a shul. Fantastic. So you come back to Chutz La'aretz, meet with the Aliyah advisor. So you say, I'm ready. So the Aliyah advisor says to you, what did you experience? I experienced life. I experienced life in Eretz Yisrael. I know what it is. So I'm ready to make Aliyah. So the advisor says, what did you think about the balance? Sometimes people complain or find it difficult in Eretz Yisrael, the balance between work and home, what the hours are. It's maybe different than in America. No, I wasn't working. I wasn't working. Oh, okay. And what do you think about the job market? You've got a very specific set of skills and language. I wasn't looking for a job. Okay. And what did you think about sometimes the products? No, I went to the shuk every day. I don't know, we can pull the Rabbeim. Anyone go to the shuk every day? But I went to the shuk every day. And what did you think about the Israeli apartments? Sometimes they're not the same. What do you mean? I splurged for a big American-sized Airbnb. So, so the Aliyah advisor says to you, okay, so this time you weren't a Mahadran tourist. You were a non-Mahadran tourist. But you were a tourist at the end of the day. You want to make Aliyah? You want to be bought in? So you got to be in it. When we're introduced, when we get turned on to Yiddishkeit, so sometimes I think of it as we're sociologists. We're looking at the Orthodox Jew. Oh, that's what the Orthodox Jew does. I'm totally on the outside. We get a little more in. But I'm testing the waters. Is this for me? Is this not for me? Oh, I hear about this thing called yeshiva. That's the thing. I'm inspired by Shabbos. I love Shabbos. I love Kabbalah Shabbos. Why do we love Kabbalah Shabbos? We don't know, but okay. So now I'm ready to go to yeshiva. What does it mean to be in yeshiva? I don't know. I go to morning seder, I go to afternoon seder, night seder. Okay, we'll talk about it. So what does it mean to be in yeshiva? Klal Yisrael has a Masarah of yeshiva. The Gemara in Yuma says that in Mitzrayim we had yeshiva, Avram was in yeshiva, Yitzchak was in yeshiva, Yaakov was in yeshiva. We have a Masarah of being in yeshiva. We're 2 weeks away from Shavuos. This is not tourist season anymore. Shavuos is a time of Kabbalah Torah every year anew. We're Makabel Torah anew. So what are we? I think that's what we have to think about. Are we tourists? Are we Mahadran tourists? Are we non-Mahadran tourists? Are we in it? We have to be in it. You want to become part of the Masarah of Klal Yisrael. You want to understand what the Frum world has to offer. You want to understand the depths of Gemara, Rashi, Tosas, and etc. So you got to be in it. And that means different things for different people. That means different types of limud for different people. It means that word that we're all afraid of, staying longer. Okay, I don't know if we can talk about that, but that's what it means. Am I in it? If I'm in it, am I part of this? Am I ben yeshiva? Or am I a tourist of some kind? I think that's what we have to think about.